working hard from the streets to the studio to bring you wicked news.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of In the Papers, your trusted segment, where we take you through major headlines making waves in Nigeria and around the world. Every day, the newspaper brings us stories and news that shapes our societies, from politics to governance to business, security, economy, and human interest stories. On this segment, we carefully go through the front page and inside pages of the newspaper around the globe. We have stories from the Punch newspaper today. We have news from the Nations newspaper. We have news from the Hope newspaper. We have stories from Daily Post newspaper this morning. My name is Florence Ibhareman, and of course, this is In the Papers, your daily nugget for news making major headlines in today's newspaper. Glad to have you back. The program is In the Papers, your daily nugget for news making major headlines in today's newspaper. Beginning with the Hope newspaper this morning, we have Ondo security agencies nab 99 crimes suspects in major crackdown. Still on the Hope newspaper this morning, we have again that Dangote refinery raises petrol price to 1,175 naira per litre. Away from the Hope newspaper this morning, we have from the Punch newspaper. Yobe residents decry abandoned hospitals emergency units. Still on the Hope newspaper, still on the Punch newspaper this morning, we have 31% of Nigerian women face physical violence, says reporter. On the Punch newspaper this morning, we have businesses brace for inflation surge as petrol hits 1,300 per litre. Still on the Punch newspaper this morning, we have Ayedatiwa loses bid to amend re-election eligibility suit. Still on the Punch newspaper, we have this one saying River Assembly defend rejection of Fubara's 4 nominees. On the Punch newspaper this morning, we have US warns citizens of fresh terror threat in Nigeria. Away from the punch and now to the nations where we have federal governments and doctors without a brothers deepen partnership. And lastly, from the nation's newspaper this morning, we have federal government expand national social registry to capture vulnerable household. We would go on a very short break. When we come back, we start with the major news from today's headlines. Glad to have you back. Glad to have you back. The program is still in the papers on your darling station, iPower 102.7 FM. You can join us on our Facebook page, iPower 102.7, for live feedback of the program this morning. And yes, we have this one coming to you from the Hope newspaper this morning, and it says, Ondo security agencies nab 99 crime suspects in major crackdown. Now the details. No fewer than 99 suspected criminals were arrested on Sunday during a coordinated security crackdown across Ondo State, including the police, Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, and other security agencies. The police spokesperson in the state, the SP Abayomi Jimo, disclosed this in a statement made available to newsmen on Monday in Akure. Jimo said the joint operation involved the police command in Ondo State, the 32 Brigade Artillery of the Nigerian Army, and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps and SCDC Ondo's command. The spokesperson said the state commissioner of police, Mr. Adebawale Lawa, commended the professionalism, synergy, and commitment displayed by all participating security agencies during the operation. According to Jimo, the CP noted that such collaboration remained crucial in the fight against crime and criminality in the state. He therefore called on members of the public to continue supporting security agencies with timely, credible, and actionable information. It was also reported on Friday that the command also arrested 4 suspected kidnappers linked to the violent attack along Liberty Avenue in Iluabo that led to the death of the residents and the abduction of a woman. Jimo said the suspects were arrested in connection with the January 26 attack along Liberty Avenue in Iluabo, which resulted in the death of Mr. John Ofudua and the kidnapping of a woman, Oladende Tomilola, who was later released. For details of that story, see the Hope newspaper this morning with headline, Ondo security agencies nab 99 crime suspects in major crackdown. A quick dive into the Punch newspaper this morning, where we have Ayedatiwa loses bid to amend re-election eligibility suit. Now the details. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has dismissed an appeal filed by the Ondo State Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa challenging a ruling of the Federal High Court in Akure in a suit questioning his eligibility to contest the next governorship election in the state. In an unanimous judgment delivered by the three-member panel, the court held that the trial court purportedly exercised its discretion when it granted an application by the plaintiff, Dr. Ade Akindele Ebunwolo, to amend his originating son in the case. Dr. Ade Dr. Akindele, a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress in Ondo State, had filed a suit at the Federal High Court seeking the interpretation of Section 133, 137 of the Constitution in respect to the eligibility of Ayedatiwa and his deputy, Dr. Olayide Adelami, to contest for the second time in office. In a ruling on November 24, 2025, Justice Tony Adegoke of the Federal High Court in Akure granted the plaintiff request to amend the originating processes. Dissatisfied with the ruling, Ayedatiwa lodged an appeal alleging a breach of his constitutional right to a fair hearing. He claimed that trial judge acted ultra vires a power and wrongly assumed jurisdiction. Owing to Ayedatiwa's contention, the Court of Appeal in Akure, where the matter was initially lodged, directed the High Court to halt proceedings which was already slated for judgment. The case was later transferred to Abuja, division of the Court of Appeal, reading that led to judgment on Monday. Justice Uchechukwu Onyemana wrote that Ayedatiwa failed to show that the Federal Court decision to allow the amendment occasionally any miscarriage of justice or denied him the right to fair hearing. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: Ayedatiwa loses bid to amend re-election eligibility suits. We are glad to have you back. The program is still in the papers on your darling station, iPower 102.7 FM. Yes, we have this one coming to you from the Punch newspaper this morning. It says businesses brace for inflation surge as petrol hit 1,300 per litre. Now the details. As petrol price jumped to about 1,300 naira per litre in various parts of Nigeria on Monday, businesses across the country are beginning to prepare for a sharp rise in their operational costs. This was confirmed by economists and organized private sector who warned that the hike could fuel inflationary pressure affecting goods and services, while companies scramble to adjust budgets and pricing strategies to cushion the impacts on consumers. As a fallout of the ongoing US-Iran war, a litre of premium motor spirit petrol rose to about 1,300 per litre in most filling stations nationwide on Monday after the Dangote Petroleum Refinery hiked its gas-free price from 995 naira to 1,175 naira per litre, sparking fear of the fresh rise in inflation among members of the night private sector. Some filling stations are also sold a liter for 1,250 naira, 1,000, 1,350 naira, and 1,400 naira respectively. The OPS warned that the surge in petrol price could trigger higher transportation and food prices. They urged the federal government to strengthen efforts to boost the local refining capacity and look at the way to tackle the incessant surge in fuel price. This was even as the Nigerian Labour Congress slammed Dangote Refinery repeated petrol price hike while there were reports on Monday that the G7 nations were planning to wade into the crisis by probably releasing emergency oil reserves. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper this morning with this headline: Businesses brace for inflation surge as petrol hits 1,300 naira per litre. Yes, you're still listening to us from iPower 102.7 FM, and I have this news coming to you from the Hope newspaper this morning. It says rainstorm wreak havoc in church in Ore. Now the details. A heavy rainstorm on Monday caused significant damage to Peculiar Grace Church located along Old Bini Road in Ore, the headquarters of Odigbo local government area of Ondo State. The downpour, which occurred during a stormy rainfall around 6 p.m., reportedly tore off parts of the church roof and destroyed several sections of the building. Eyewitnesses in the area said the rainstorm was accompanied by strong wind that swept through the area, damaging rooftops and other structures of the vicinity. A member of the church who spoke to a correspondent on condition of anonymity said the incident caused extensive damage to the worship center, including the roof and some interior fittings. According to him, the destruction will temporarily disrupt church programs as the building may require urgent repair before regular service can continue. The whole gathered the passerby visited the scene and sympathized with the church leadership and members, describing the incident as unfortunate. For details of that story, see Hope newspaper this morning with this headline: Rainstorm wreaks havoc on church in Ore. Still taking major stories from the newspaper this morning. This one coming to you from the Punch newspaper, and it says IG visit Kwara vows to flush out bandits. Now the details. The Inspector General of Police Tunji Dusu on Monday vowed that the security agency would reclaim communities in Kwara State from criminal elements, assuring residents that intensified operations were underway to restore peace and safeguard lives and property. Diesel made the declaration in Ilorin while addressing security stakeholders and personnel of the Nigerian police force during his first official visit to the state since his appointment as police chief. He stressed that communities affected by banditry and violent crimes would be cleared through sustained security operations. He also said his visit was aimed at reinforcing ongoing security efforts and motivating officers to intensify operations against criminal groups. The police chief urged residents to support security agencies with credible and timely intelligence, noting that community cooperation remains vital in tracking and tackling insecurity. He also cautioned against ethnic profiling, stressing that criminal activities should not be attributed to any ethnic group. He acknowledged the role of the Fulani intelligence network, noting that cooperation had aided previous operations. For details of that story, see Punch newspaper this morning with this headline: IG visits Kwara, vows to flush out bandits. Still in Kwara State, and of course, for the Punch newspaper this morning, we have Kwara has 13 public hospitals with solar energy. Now the details. The Kwara State government has extended renewable energy infrastructure to more public hospitals as part of efforts to strengthen healthcare delivery and ensure uninterrupted power supply across the state. This was disclosed in a statement issued on Monday by the management of the Kwara State Hospital Management Board and cited by the Punch in Ilorin, the state capital. According to the statement, the initiative forms part of the government's commitment to promoting sustainable and climate-friendly healthcare system while improving electricity supply in public health facilities. It explained that several hospitals have now joined other health institutions already benefiting from renewable energy system through the installation of solar inverter solutions. The hospitals include the General Hospital in Share, Specialist Hospital Jeba, General Hospital Erinle, General Hospital Omaran, Children's Specialist Hospital Ilorin, and the Essential Drug Program. Similarly, 7 other health facilities were equipped with 10 kVj solar inverter systems to strengthen electricity supply for routine and emergency medical services. The board attributed the expansion of renewable energy infrastructures to the commitment of Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak to improving healthcare services and promoting environmentally sustainable initiatives across the state. It's noted that the governor's administration had continued to prioritize healthcare infrastructural upgrades, sustainability programs, and improve access to quality medical service for residents. The board saying that the installation will stabilize electricity supply, reduce reliance on petrol power generator, and guarantee uninterrupted power for crucial units such as laboratories, maternity services, cold chain store, and emergency care department, thereby improving overall quality of health delivery in this state. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: Kwara powers 13 public hospitals with solar energy. Glad to have you back still in the papers on your darling station, iPower 102.7 FM. Away from the Punch newspaper this morning and now to the Nation's newspaper where we have PENCOM targets 1 million self-employed women for pension plan. Now the details. The Director General of National Pension Commission, PENCOM, or Omolola Oluworan, said the commission is targeting 1 million self-employed women to enable them secure their financial future through registration of the Personal Pension Plan (PPP). Omolola disclosed this at the International Women's Day 2026 outreach in Abuja, where with the aim of encouraging women, especially self-employed women, to secure their financial future through the PPP, noting the target of 1 million women a year might be a bit of a high target, given where the country is right now. But the Commission wants to keep up this drive to penetrate the informal sector. She added that the monitoring will be on a daily basis to see how close the Commission is to the target of 1 million women this year. In the case of eventualities, the next of kin should be aware of your savings. So in registration, there is space for next of kin. She spoke on the matching fund where PENCOM doubles any amount women deposit by the women deposit by the addition is, but the addition is not more than 20,000 naira. If an account is opened with 20,000 naira, PENCOM will match the fund with another 20,000 naira. It is like this because PENCOM is the regulator. They are working with the PFAs, the industry itself, and some other donors to make this a success. For details of that story, see the Nation's newspaper this morning. This headline: PENCOM targets 1 million self-employed women for pension plan. Glad to have you back. You're still listening to us from iPower 102.7 FM, and the program is in the papers. We have this headline coming from battle against tourism. Banditry will be total, says Tinubu. Now the details. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has assured Nigerians that his administration will fight the battle against terrorism and banditry to a decisive end. He said the country would emerge victorious despite the current security challenges. The president gave the assurance last night while hosting traditional rulers, Christian and Muslim leaders at the interfaith breaking of fast at the State House in Abuja. Addressing the gathering, President Tinubu said his administration remained determined to confront the violent group threatening the peace and unity of the country. Referring to the recent security operations, he said that they have intensified pressure on terrorists and bandits. President Tinubu said the occasion was meant to show gratitude and reflect on some issues, particularly as the Islamic month of Ramadan coincident with the Christian Lenten season. According to him, the convergence of the two solemn religion observance reflect the nation's enduring unity in diversity. The president also reflected on the state of the nation's economy, saying that the government has stabilized the country's finances since assuming into office. The president stressed that his administration remained focused on investing in agriculture and education to secure a better future for the younger generations. For details of that story, see the nation's newspaper this morning with this headline: Battle against terrorism and banditry will be total, says Tinubu. Oh my, distract Mike, what you want? Yes, we have this news coming to you from Daily Post newspaper this morning, and it says U.S. warns of imminent terror attack on facilities, schools in Nigeria. Now the details. The United States Embassy in Nigeria on Monday sternly warned citizens in the country of possible terror attack on U.S. facilities and American affiliated schools in Nigeria, particularly the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. A recent security alert on its official website, the U.S. advised its citizens in Nigeria to take additional precautions. They noticed the notice urged U.S. citizens in Nigeria to be more security conscious, especially when visiting U.S. diplomatic mission and any U.S. affiliated school. The notice read, and I quote, U.S. Embassy in Abuja informed U.S. citizens of the possible terror threats against U.S. facilities and the U.S. affiliated schools in Nigeria. The embassy recommends that U.S. citizens take additional precautions when traveling to the U.S. Embassy, the U.S. Consulate General in Lagos, and the U.S. affiliate schools, to include verifying time and routine. For details of that story, see the Daily Post newspaper with this headline: U.S. warns of imminent terror attack on facilities, schools in Nigeria. Still on the Daily Post newspaper this morning, we have troops neutralized terrorists in Sokoto forest. Now the details. Troops of the Chief of Army Staff Special Intervention Battalion 7, in conjunction with 8th Division Strike Team, operating under the Joint Task Force Northwest Operation Fasan Yamman, has eliminated terrorists at the Kaduna forest. In a statement, Lieutenant Colonel Olaniyi Oshoba, Acting Deputy Director, Army Public Relations 8th Division, Nigerian Army, Sector 2 Operation, said the success followed a credible intelligence and decisive engagement with a notorious terrorist network affiliated to the Lakurawa terrorists in Tangaza local government area of Sokoto State. According to a statement, intelligence revealed that over 100 terrorists had converged deep in the Kadam forest to coordinate attack and kidnapping on local communities and transport their kidnapped victims to their stronghold. However, luck ran out of them as troops acting swiftly mobilized to intercept them. Then the ensuing fight was fierce and sustained. When the terrorists attempted to rear-flanking maneuver, troops responded with superior firepower, effectively neutralizing the threat and maintaining tactical dominance throughout the engagement. Following the superpower, troops neutralized 3 terrorists, with several others believed to have sustained a gunshot wound during their escape. Details of that story: see Daily Post newspaper with this headline: Troops neutralize terrorists in Sokoto forests. Glad to have you back. The program is still in the papers, your daily nuggets for news making major headlines in today's newspaper. It's about time to welcome our in-house guest on the program, and it is no other person and person of Akin Adebayo. Good morning, Akin Adebayo.
Good morning and thanks for having me on the program.
It's always a pleasure having you in the house.
Yeah,
Yes, we have the story coming to us from the Punch newspaper talking about Ayedatiwa losing bid to amend re-election for eligibility suits. What do you have to say as regarding this the story?
Thank you very, very much. Number one, times I begin to wonder in Nigeria why it seems that the only thing we think about is election. We don't think about governance. And the very minute what's in your mind is election and not governance, there's possibility of not performing optimally as expected. Now, this somebody that has just celebrated a year in office. And if I'm not mistaken, this issue of his ability to the eligibility or non-eligibility to contest again for another time, as the case may be, as long even before is the 1 year anniversary. So it becomes an issue of serious concern that is even affecting the development that should be taking place in the state. And you see, at times I begin to imagine, I think what should be in the mind of any political office holder is what can do within the little time given to you. Now, the possibility of you coming back is not certain. So the time that you are having, why not make judicious use of it rather than for you start strategizing and planning for another bid? So the governor has said it, that it was only suit that it was not that initiated it, that someone actually told the person of Egbo Halo. So, and in case whereby the governor is having this immunity and immunity, but on political matters is not covered regarding that. So he just has to respond to a suit instituted against him. But of course, all this thing brings about distraction, either from the person that is suing him or from him himself. What I'm just saying is that it is high time we begin to look more into governance and not the issue of politicking and politicking all the time. We should, election for election, governance for governance. Ondo State is not moving at the pace at which it should move compared to other southwestern states. Ondo State bettered it. Get to Ekiti, you will be amazed. So people will be coming to say that Ekiti is not an Ondo State. Meaning what? 20 years difference between Ondo and Ekiti, no be one now. Unfortunately, the pace at which this state is moving is not commensurate compared to other states. So I think to me, this issue of him losing what have you is something to me is just kind of distraction. But good, a judgment has just been dispensed now with a fine of 2 million. And it's volume. She should not deceive herself. It's volume. In a case whereby it's losing, a suit of that magnitude, and is now even asked to now pay a fine of 2 million. Though I know there's still room for for appeal. It simply means that he can still pursue his case to the Supreme Court. But all these things are indicators, which I don't want to mention on here. So I think the governor should rather forget about all this distraction and face governance. As that's my submission for the matter as at the moment.
Thank you very much for that insight. And away from that, and have talking about petrol, talking about the oil refinery, we have this one coming to us from the Punch. So businesses brace up for inflation surge as petrol is 1,300 naira per liter. How do we go from here? Looking at how the hike of things will be moving forward, what do we do as Nigerians? And of course, what do you think actually brought about this hike in the petrol price?
Well, I think what brought about the hike is just the war between Iran, Israel, and the US.
Okay, now to a layman, do you think that should directly affect?
You see, so far Nigeria is having a monolithic economy. There is no way we'll be having a reverberating effect. And that is what we are experiencing here. And I was going to tell you this, Nigeria is not the only country that is experiencing this war crisis. Get to China, they are currently experiencing the same thing. India is experiencing it. So it's not something that, like I was in a commercial vehicle and someone said that is as a view of the government policy that brought about the high. I said, please don't misinform people. It's not any reform of policy, no. It's as a result of the war, that the ongoing war between Iran and US and Israel. Now, there's particular I think 30 kilometers, see something, straight orbits or there. I think it's within the Iranian and jurisdiction. They have gone ahead to block those areas. And the very minute ship or vessel cannot pass through that area, it becomes because it's an economic sea. And the very minute it is blocked by Iran, because nobody is ready to take the risk of a vessel or a ship at the moment. And as we all know, these vessels, these ships are owned by individuals, not government. So which simply means that if you want to take such risks, if you're ready for the worst. No, the US has promised that it's going to change the Iranian IR, what's it called, from that area, from that route. But be that as it may, we should expect a worst case scenario in this matter. And to me, I think it's now high time the Nigerian government begin to inward, particularly in the area of agriculture. But unfortunately, as we are trying to get into agriculture, we are equally battling with the issue of banditry and kidnapping. Do you know how many people, like people will always say something, the Yorubas will always say, come, go call me, to buy a coin. Then when the issue of banditry was ongoing there, in northern Nigeria, we are feeling that none of our business. But by virtue of people that have been chased away from their various farms, they couldn't go to farm. We now have more IDP camps, more than the Granite Pyramid used to have there in the north. We now have more ID camps, more than people that are going to farm. All these things, no doubt, are a kind of vibrating on the economy as a whole. Now the double jeopardy. If the monolithic economy of operating, which is the oil, is not being threatened the way it is now by virtue of Iranian, the US, and Israeli war. So to me, I think it is an avenue for Nigeria to now look inward and try to diversify this economy. Every government that come on here to say that they will diversify that, but unfortunately, it seems we are not seeing it as promised. So to me, I think the Nigerian government really needs to look inward and diversify the economy from this oil of the thing. Okay, God forbid. What if today now the whole world decided not to, to go into electronics and what have you? How do you manage yourself? So I think the Nigerians should see expect a war time, because the war is far from being over. And as long as that war persists, because nobody, like I said, even if Donald Trump made the promise that maybe clear the seaways for any ship and vessel to pass through, who is ready to take the risk? These are the problems. And this is a war that is still ongoing, and it's going to be a very bitter one. So I think all Nigeria needs to do now, and particularly the Nigerian government, is to look inward, making sure that how does Dangote get, crude? Because Dangote refinery seems to be the surviving refinery in Nigeria now. They should look into other African countries. Maybe they can get oil from Angola, from Congo, from America, as the case may be, so that at least Dangote can continue producing for Nigeria. Dangote having, let me tell you one thing, if you are not having Dangote by now, it would have been, in fact, a suicide. Let me just put it that way. It would have been so moderate compared to what you're experiencing now. So I think the Nigerian government rallying to rally around in making sure that Dangote have access to crude oil, either from Nigeria or from other African or neighboring countries. Thank you much.
Thank you very much. Because of our time, let's take a very quick look at this that's coming to us from Ondo State. Talking about Ondo security agencies napping 99 crime suspects in May crackdown. Like one of the major good news I think coming to us from Ondo State is this, knowing that the different security personnel came together to actually fight the insurgency as regards security. Now, what do you have to say about this headline?
Thank you very, very much. It's no doubt it's a very promising headline, but beyond the headline itself, we really need to see the result in reality. It's a very promising, very exciting, in fact, headline, but it goes beyond headlines. So I think we really need to see all these performances in action. Just recently now we are hearing now that maybe some other people were called kidnapping Luabo. And like I've always said, particularly this our Akure, especially in axis, has been synonymous for the issue of kidnapping attacks here and there and stuff like that. So I just say that according to the headline, if you can record this level of arrest, then I can assure you, at least you can still go to Bedford maybe for some time now with our 2 eyes closed. But if this thing is not as they've been put Teddy on the headline, then I don't know. So it goes beyond the short line. And my message equally to the governor. The governor needs to make some categorical statement. He needs to be forceful I'm not saying that he's trying his own way, but of course, some of his pronouncements, some of his statements actually speaks volume as well. Because, the SS, Nigerian Army, NSCDC, and what have you, that they've done a yeoman job going by this headline. I'm deliberately emphasizing on this headline because you've seen instances where we hear something on the headline and unfortunately on the contrary, in reality. So to me, it's a welcoming headline, promising one. I mean, the relaxing headline, but as the case may be, we need to see all these arrests being made in this real sense, in the security of life and property in the state. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I will go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue with our major headlines and recap of today's program. Glad to have you back. The program is still in the papers, your daily nuggets for news making major headlines in today's newspaper. And with me in the house is Akin Adebayo, our in-house analyst that has been doing justice to the different headlines we brought to your reading pleasure this morning. And I'm saying our time is fast spent already, but let me appreciate you for coming today. I hope that when I call you next time, you will do honor of coming on the program always.
Sure.
Okay, now, so that will be all for the second segment where we'll bring in our in-house analyst to do justice to the stories read so far. And with that, we cut a wrap on the program this morning. And of course, it has been in the papers where we read to you major headlines making news round the newspaper today. Like I always say, remember, information, staying informed is one of the most powerful tools you can have as a citizen of Nigeria. The news helps you to understand what's happening around us, and of course, what is happening around our daily life. Thank you for listening and being a part of the conversations today. You can also join us tomorrow, same time, same station, for another brand new edition in the papers on our 102.7 FM. And like I always say, do well to stay glued to the dial because, of course, we have a list of endless informative, educative, entertaining programs outlined for your listening leisure. I am Florence Ibhareman. Many thanks for listening, and of course, good morning.